This week, we have a native of South Korea, a 6'7" sharpshooter who hooped at Davidson and is currently a guard for the NBA G League Santa Cruz Warriors, Hyunjung Lee.
The one-star recruits have partnered with 500 Level at 500level.com to give you 20% off all merchandise from the best sports apparel in the game. DK, just in the past 24 hours, listener Colby in Austin copped a Steph Curry Big Head shirt. New York Giants fan Justin in New Jersey got a Daniel Jones shirt. You can get mystery shirts for $8 or $10. 20% off with the code ONESTAR at 500level.com. Let's go.
Yo, aloha. Welcome to the One Star Recruits podcast. I am DK, joined as always with my best friend of 25 years, Rip. We are One Stars. We're here trying to get better at life with the help of five-star celebrity, athletes, comedians, everybody from around the world, literally from around the world. This week, we have an opportunity to go back to Santa Cruz, a place that I love very dearly, Santa Cruz, California, with the G League Santa Cruz Warriors, a team that I love very dearly. But we have yet to, Rip, we have yet to have a South Korean guest on the show. First one. Congratulations, Rip. This is what we do on the One Star Recruits. I seem to talk about it every week, but I want to congratulate you, Rip, because you booked an amazing interview.
It is amazing, DK, and a really cool story because I think we talked about this in the interview, but basketball is like the third or fourth most popular sport in Korea, you know, behind soccer and baseball and possibly tennis. But it's also has a lot of upsides. This guy Hyunjung Lee, he built a pretty big following at Davidson. Of course, you know, he's a Steph guy and a Clay guy, so followed Steph's footsteps at Davidson. Went last year this time, had a 1-point loss to Michigan State in the first round of the NCAA tournament. So it's March Madness time. I'm glad this worked out with the timing. And this guy, if he wouldn't have hurt his foot in a pre-draft workout, DK, you might see him on an NBA roster right now, and we'll likely see him on an NBA roster in the next year or two for sure.
Look at that. I know the NBA needs shooting, and he's 6'7", so big guard who can play. Look at Rip going right there with NBA. I really love that he landed in Santa Cruz. I think it's a handful of reasons. It makes a lot of sense. First and foremost, you have the Davidson connection with Mr. Steph Curry, who's right up Highway 17, cruise through by the airport, you know, past that In-N-Out Burger in Millbrae, right up through Chase Center. So you have Steph Curry with the Golden State Warriors, who went to Davidson, and it's kind of cool that you now have Lee in Santa Cruz. So I think it's a good landing spot from that perspective. I was kind of surprised to learn that the first time they ever met was recently at Chase Center, literally 2 weeks ago. I would think that possibly Steph might be getting back to Davidson, but then as my brain starts to put that together, Steph is the best basketball player in the world. He probably goes back once every 6 years, so that makes sense. But I think it's a very comfortable place. I would love to see a Golden State Warriors call up. Golden State seems to be calling up everybody nowadays. They can't really figure it out with Jordan Poole, the shooting guard thing. Why not throw a shooter up, throw him in the corner?
It would be one of the coolest things to work out, DK. Like one of my best March Madness memories was that Davidson run that Steph had those guys on. It was about a dozen years ago now, but I know Hyunjung was watching that as a kid in South Korea and, you know, just following in his footsteps. And that is a really cool part of the interview. Stay tuned toward the end of the interview for that. Kind of a surprising story of how they met last week at Chase Center, like you said. For all the strong points that the Warriors have right now, they have trouble winning on the road. And like you said, the NBA can always use more shooters. So there's always a spot for Hyunjung on that roster if he can step up and take it.
Yeah, GMs out there listening, take a look if you need a shooter. No, it's new. He's going to obviously take some time. He's very young. He was born in 2000. Got me thinking, though, Rip. We're from Arizona, listeners. As y'all know, we love Arizona. One of my favorite South Korean athletes of all time, a gentleman named Hyunjung Kim. Do you remember him, Rip?
I remember like it was yesterday, 2001 World Series, just total roller coaster of a World Series. Some say the best World Series in the history of baseball. And yeah, he blew a couple saves, nailed down a couple, and just flair for the dramatic is all I could say about him.
So much drama. He came into what was the time a Diamondbacks team that was really good, and he came in with a great pitching style, stole all of our hearts in the Valley of the Sun, for good or for bad. I'll never forget Hyunjung Kim. Thank you for coming along on that ride, man. And I don't know if do pitchers still use that down sidearm a lot, Rip, or is that not happening anymore?
the submarine. I think it's called the submarine. You don't see it a lot, but when guys can get it down, it's super effective because that angle comes at you so differently, and it's hard for hitters to pick up that baseball, which makes those guys usually pretty effective.
Exactly, exactly. So he comes to my memory as somebody who stands out. I was really excited because I was able to hook our guy, Dave Cow, who's the COO of the Santa Cruz Warriors, up with Hyunjung Lee to possibly explore the Bay Area. There is a lot of great Korean food in the Bay Area. So we'll see if those connections come together. In the meantime, enjoy this interview with Hyunjung Lee.
Now joining the One Star Recruits podcast, we have a native of South Korea, a legend in Davidson, North Carolina, and currently a 6'7" guard for the NBA G League Santa Cruz Warriors, Hyunjung Lee. Thank you for coming on the One Star Recruits, Hyunjung.
What's up? Thanks for having me.
Hey, we're glad to have you. And really, you've had a really eventful past 12 months between the foot injury you suffered right before the draft last year to then going undrafted, and now coming back to the States to play in the G League with the Warriors. It's really been a lot to go through mentally for someone in just a short period. Mm-hmm. For people who have been kind of waiting to hear from you and see you play for a while, where's your game at now, both mentally and physically, about 9 months after that injury?
First of all, I'm just glad that I can play basketball again. As soon as the injury happened, I was really kind of depressed. I didn't really want to watch basketball for a month, 2 months. But now I'm mentally healthy. Just glad to be back. But, I just joined the Warriors almost end of the season. So I'm just trying to find my rhythm, trying to get used to this basketball system, because it's the biggest difference between Davidson and the G League team is, Davidson, we play a lot of motion offense. So I know where I shoot and when I have to shoot. But here it's just random. You just got to play basketball. So I'm just trying to get used to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Get your flow back. We're so happy to have you in Santa Cruz. Quick little tidbit. I was in Santa Cruz in 2012. I helped launch that wonderful franchise and Kaiser Permanente Arena. I have a lot of love for that little beach town there. What are your first impressions of Santa Cruz, California, after being there for a couple of weeks now?
First is the great weather, of course, West Coast, great weather, nice beach, just chilling. I thought it's going to be a little, because it's near San Francisco, I thought it's going to be, a lot of things are expensive and stuff. So I was trying to save my money, but it's not actually that bad. But I'm just really enjoying the weather out there. And then I love how they play basketball too. So yeah.
So do I, man. So do I. I want to talk about the Warriors and their system in a minute. But before I get there, a great friend of the pod and mine, his name is Dave Cow. He happens to be the COO of your team, the Santa Cruz Warriors. He's a wonderful human being and a great basketball executive. But more importantly, he is the Bay Area's eating and food expert. You can double check this with Fatoki and BBK if you want.
Okay, yeah.
Double check with the homies and see if they can confirm this fact. He took me to get Korean barbecue for the first time in San Francisco in 2008. And I fell in total love. So he extended the offer to take you to a 5-star Korean spot in San Jose on one of your days off. Are you down to have a food experience with Dave Cow?
Oh yeah, I need it right now, actually.
Oh, love it. I love it. Good man. I was wondering if, because I know Santa Cruz doesn't have a lot of spots, but I think if you go right up to 17, Dave has tons of great spots in San Jose. So the One Star Recruits are going to put that together for you if you're down.
Yes, I'm down.
Easy. We're locking that in. All right. Yeah, I love it, bro. Okay, you played 12 minutes and went 2 for 3 in the C-Dubs annual game at Chase Center in San Francisco earlier this month. Yeah. What was that experience like, bro, being on the floor there, the same place your fellow Davidson alum, Steph Curry, has dominated for years? There you were. How'd it feel?
First, we actually played at Chase Center when I was in Davidson last year. So it was, but there wasn't the Warriors logo on it, but this time there was a Warriors logo on it, and a lot of fans came too. So it was just it's just kind of weird. And a lot of Korean community from San Francisco, they came to our game. They came to our game. I think there were 20 or more Koreans when we were playing, and I heard some Korean like shouting my name. Like it was just a big honor, of course.
Nice.
But first shot, I felt like during the practice before the game, like I felt really good. I like that like that basketball court. But it's just it was just a blessing that I can play basketball again. And I'm the through 5 games. I'm not shooting great right now. I just have to find my rhythm, and then my foot is not like healthy, but I feel a little soreness sometimes after the game or during the game.
Yeah.
I just trying to get my rhythm first, rhythm back, and then finally make those 2 shots at the Chase Center, and it was amazing experience. Yeah.
That felt good, man. That's like hitting a really good golf ball after you've been having a bad day. It's like, oh, this is why I love golf. This is really fun. I spent a couple days ago watching your Davidson tape. I know you can knock him down. Has Steph given you any advice about shooting or life? Do you talk to Steph ever?
Oh yeah, so I actually never met Steph when I was in Davidson, because usually he used to like visit once a year, but first year COVID happened, second year COVID, and then third year he hurt his wrist. So that it was such a bad timing. But at Chase Center this last week, we had practice. We were practicing, like we were trying to get some lift before the practice, and then Steph was lifting like right next to us. I was froze, like, oh, that's Steph Curry. Like, oh. And then I was just like trying to do my stuff, but Steph came to me and then he said like, "What's up, Lee?" He like say hi to me first, and I was like, "Oh wow, is this real or is it a dream?" Like, and then he just saying like, "G League is a good opportunity, so just do your best, and then the opportunity will come to you. So just keep working hard." That's what he said. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And they got the best minds. They got the Lakeups in there. They got Bob Myers. You got your guy Fatoki. You got some good basketball guys. You're there for a reason. I can't wait to all these shots start falling. I love watching your game, man. I'm one of the few. I live in Hawaii and I'm watching C-Dub's game to catch a couple. But you in particular, my friend, a little bit curious. I'm going to switch it over to South Korea while I have you. Then I'm going to flip it over to Rip here.
All right.
I know baseball and soccer are really popular in South Korea. Basketball has had its moments. But for every milestone that you knock down, it really helps the sport get stronger. How would you describe the popularity of basketball in your home country? How much potential does it have to grow if guys like you keep doing well and setting the example?
So for soccer and baseball, Heung-min Son, like who played for Tottenham, and for baseball, Channel Park, he played for the LA Dodgers. Like there's always like a one player who had like a great career outside of Korea, like one of the top leagues, actually the top leagues all around the world. So there's one guy right now in Gonzaga, the Korean guy, who just committed like last month or something. His name is Junsuk, and then me and like him and I can like make some steps in the NBA or like a G League. Like I think just in Korea, like the basketball is probably like I would say like number 4 right now, the popularity. But if you like play very well in like a high level, just like Heung-min Son or like Channel Park, it's gonna make a big difference. I think a lot of guys who loves basketball, but they're watching all the NBAs, but right now in Japan, like they have multiple players, Yuta Watanabe and Rui Hachimura, and so their basketball's like kind of growing up right now, and that helps all the youth players to give the hope. When I was injured and then when I was back home, a lot of fans came to me and then please make it to the NBA. So a lot of youth guys can like, oh, Korean can also like make like us Korean can also make the NBA too. Like that kind of stereotypes, because we had one player, the tall guy. I don't know if you know him, like Seung-jin Ha. He played for the Blazers. He's like 7'3", so he's kind of like an alien for us. But like I'm not like a normal height. I'm 6'7". I'm pretty tall too. But guys like me, if I can make it to the NBA, I think that motivates a lot of youth guys to like have a dream to make it to the NBA, and then that'll like helps the basketball growth, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. It'll help it grow. And you're 6'7". I don't know. You might be able to dunk like the putback dunk Moses Moody had in Birmingham a couple days ago. You got that one in your bag? You got that one in your bag, Lee?
Yeah, if I see a lot of Korean flags, I can definitely do it. Yeah.
What's the Korean media been like, Hyunjung, especially like at Davidson? Because I know some of the guys you mentioned, like Chan-ho Park and Hyunjin Ryu when he was with the Dodgers, he had Korean media following him everywhere. Has it been to that level at all, or is that something that if you do get that call up to the NBA, you expect to happen? How's that been for you?
Yeah, so my freshman and sophomore year, the media wasn't like really they're paying attention, but they never like come to the States and do some stuff. But when I get like the national attention, like I play for the national games, and then some guys were saying like like I might get drafted, and then that happens, and a lot of Korean media guys came to the Davidson games, and they were following some games too, and then so at Davidson, like it's not NBA, but it's still like a high level in basketball. But they're following me all around the city. Like one time we played at Davidson, one time we played at Pittsburgh Duquesne, and then they followed like they drove like 7 hours, 8 hours, crazy. And also in Santa Cruz, my first two games, there were Korean media too. Like they came to my game, and I didn't have a great game, but if I can make it to the NBA, and then if I don't play well, I still make it to the NBA, and then I know the guys will follow me because Korea, a lot of guys loves NBA, and then they want to see how NBA works, you know. So
it's always fun. When I was in Santa Cruz, we had a gentleman from the Philippines. It's great. It's great. That's why the G League's terrific. I think that's why we were looking at the World versus USA players, Rip and I, on the pod a couple weeks ago, and it's just really phenomenal. We're really proud of you, man. We're rooting for you to get called up. I'm going to get that jersey once you get that call up.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much.
We as a few more for you here. We end every interview with a segment we call 1 star to 5 star. We're 1 stars. We're trying to get better with advice and tips from every guest we have on this podcast, like yourself. So I want to ask you just a few questions that run the gamut on a 1 to 5 star scale. Let's say 1's the lowest, 5's the highest.
Mm-hmm.
Back to your time at Davidson, we just hit March. It's early March now, which means we have the NCAA tournament starting up here in the States. This time last year at Davidson, you guys had a heartbreaking first round loss to Michigan State. It was a 1-point game, but that whole time had to be an incredible experience. I believe it was your only NCAA tournament. What's the 5-star March Madness memory from those couple days you had in the tournament there?
As soon as I stepped on the court, like, you know, March Madness is crazy and everything was possible. And then as a team, we were like really locked in the locker room, like we're getting hyped, and we stepped on the court. A lot of fans, a lot of Koreans were also there too. It's the biggest stage I ever played. So that every moment I stepped on the court in March Madness, and every minute, every seconds that I played was such a great memory for me, and such a great lesson too. Yeah.
It's such a special thing here in the U.S. that basketball fans always look forward to every March.
Right.
You grew up right in the thick of K-pop in South Korea with names like TVXQ and BoA. On a scale of 1 to 5 stars, how big of a K-pop fan are you?
Probably like 3.
All right.
3 star. Some song. I like K-pop actually. I like K-pop, but
There it is. I like it too. It's good melody. It's good jams.
yeah, it's a good jams. But
You're not listening to it before games. The NBA is more of a rap and hip hop league. Do you have a favorite American artist or song that gets you energized before a game? Are you listening to music before games?
oh yeah, I definitely do. My favorite artist, Polo G,
Nice.
Juice World, Lil Baby, and
Love it.
yeah, and some K-pops too. Yeah.
It's a good
All right.
playlist, Rip. We need that playlist. Young, you got to send out that playlist. We got to check it out. Your pregame playlist is probably good.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'll send it to you guys.
Yeah.
All right, last one. I'll close it out with this because during the pandemic, a lot of Americans got put on game with Korean TV series from the popularity of Squid Game over here.
Yeah.
And then we got more after that, Alive, All of Us Are Dead. So for us Americans, what's a 5-star Korean soap opera that everyone needs to watch?
There's so many things, but I would recommend Running Man. It's like a Korean TV show, and like there's a lot of episodes. It's been like televised for like 10 or more years, but there are some clips on YouTube, like 20 minutes clips, 30 minutes clips, and it's such a just a great show.
Running Man, there it is. Yep. We're gonna check that out. You're gonna keep running in Santa Cruz. Everybody go check them out on the NBA app, ESPN, NBAGleague.com. Hyunjung, yeah. How about just the fact if you're in the Bay Area or California, get in your car and come down to Kaiser Permanente Arena. It's really the best building in the G League as far as energy, and you can get your whole family out there for $100. It's really the best. Listeners out there, go check out this man. Keep working, keep improving, keep being a positive role model for Korean hoopers out there. Thank you so much for coming on the One Star Recruits podcast. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much, guys.
Nothing better to me on this podcast than when our 5-star guest is super excited to be on the show. And that was a great example. Lee was fired up to be on the show. Great interview. So happy we got to highlight Santa Cruz again. Rip, do I highlight Santa Cruz too much? I just really love that team in that city.
Hey, we probably do it like once every 20 episodes, which I feel like is about right. Great little beach town, like you said in the interview, and so many pros come through that little franchise up there at the Warriors. It's cool to get these guys early. We always say it. We try to get them early, and like I said, in 1 or 2 years, I think Hyunjung will be in the league and be effective as a shooter.
Save that tape. Mark that tape. March Madness is upon us. We're talking hoops. This is a hoop show. The bracket hit. I don't know if it's just me. I don't know if it's haven't been following college basketball enough. I'm not doing brackets or feeling bracket crazy like I normally am, Rip. I did one. Took me a while to get through because I was trying to go back and forth with some research. I think a lot of these teams are pretty damn good as far as matchups go. I think this might be some of the best basketball, mainly because a lot of our guys a lot of the great college basketball players are choosing the G League route and choosing the Europe route and other routes. I think you're getting kind of the C-level players, C and B-level players in college basketball, and there's a lot of parity. So I don't really know what's going on too much. You got any March Madness takes to bless us with?
I do. This is the first year in a while that I've watched the selection show, and it's all because of my 6-year-old is super into it. He filled out his bracket right after the show. His sleeper is UC Santa Barbara, which he has in the Elite 8. So who knows, man? Brackets are all, could go either way, but I am into it this year. I have not done my bracket because I'm waiting for my Sun Devils to play Wednesday night in the first 4 and see what happens with that. And I'm going to do the bracket immediately after that. But my hot take this year is that everyone has been talking about Gonzaga for the past 10 to 12 years. They've never won a title. I feel like nobody is talking about them this year. I think this is a year Gonzaga actually wins the title because nobody's talking about them. Strictly because of that, Drew Timmy's an amazing college basketball player. Mark Few is one of the best coaches in the game. Like I said, all these teams that are being talked about, Houston, Alabama, for the right or wrong reasons, nobody's talking about the Zags this year, DK. So I feel like it's finally their year because of that.
Rip, is Timmy a hero or a villain?
I feel like he's a hero. He's the modern day Adam Morrison. He's not going to be great in the NBA. He'll be in the G League. He'll tear it up, and he'll find his way on the end of a bench in the NBA. But there's nothing not to like about that guy. He seems like a good student of the game. He's very fundamentally sound. Whatever adjectives you want to use to describe him, but who's he a villain to? I've never heard that name come up as a villain. Gonzaga, I feel like, is still a darling of the NCAA, even though they're a powerhouse.
He's a villain. He feels like it's his 8th year playing college basketball. He kind of looks like a man amongst boys in not a basketball sense, not a body sense, just like who's the science teacher playing basketball, still getting offensive rebounds he probably shouldn't be getting. I feel like he does some snarls and some looks. He's got a bit of a hunchback. I think maybe he's a hero too, but Timmy, he irks me a little bit. I've been watching him play St. Mary's, and I've been watching the San Diego run a little bit here that they've been doing. I get those games here in Hawaii. They come on at 6:00 here. So the rest of the world are getting them late. I'm getting them nice and perfect timing. So I watched a little bit of that, Rip. In fact, I think my biggest upset's going to come out of that conference. You want to take a guess?
Are you picking a 16 to beat a 1?
Not quite, but I am taking VCU. They have been there before to take out St. Mary's. I think St. Mary's is going to be good next year, good enough to make a deep run. I think they're too small to play with these VCU boys. So upset 5-12, St. Mary's VCU.
I like that. And that's the other thing is I feel like this is the first year to me that the selection committee, because that 12-5 thing has been out of the bag for a while, I feel like the selection committee is purposely picking super intriguing matchups for those 5-12 games, knowing that it's probably 50-50 that the 12 is going to beat the 5. So that's going to throw betting off a little bit, but I could see all 4 of the 12s winning, to be honest, because of the matchups this year.
All right, well, let's call our national champion and get out of here for now. Who's winning this thing?
Gonzaga, it's my pick.
Finally locked in. Gonzaga, he's locking it up. I am going to stick with the team that I watched here dominate the Maui Invitational. What was that, 4 months ago, 6 months ago? And they're healthy. They're big. Everything's kind of came together at the right time for them. Arizona Wildcats, national champions.
Boo. They're going to get upset in the first round.
We'll see, man. Big Sun Devils fans, that guy Rip. A big Sun Devil fan. How about quick NFL corner? Let's pull this up, Rip. I'm not even going to take a break. We'll go right into it because I just want to get your thoughts. I lost my number one target. So, Mom, the NFL is in its off season. They have a thing called free agency. A bunch of guys whose contracts are up or they're not happy in their situation have this time when they can go sign with other teams. We are upon that time. My number one target, mother, for our Cardinals was a defensive tackle that we desperately needed. It was Javon Hargrave. He signed a $84 million deal with the 49ers in our division, and I'm completely heartbroken. Rip, any thoughts off the bat on our Cardinals or free agency for that matter? Because the Cardinals haven't been doing much.
I'm disappointed with their coaching hire. I'm disappointed with their quarterback that they kept. I'm disappointed with the fact that they haven't done anything in free agency, DK. It feels a lot like last year. And, what did they go last year? 4-13? Like, to improve a team like that, you can't just hire a new coach. You have to add players. And it seems like they're losing guys. Hopkins is probably going to go. But, 4-13 to me sounds like a best case scenario for next year. So I'm not a fan of their offseason so far by any means.
And there's a lot of these Eagles who are still out there for the taking. I'm talking to Gardner Johnson, and I think James Bradbury might be out there. So there's some other guys. That was a great defense Philly had. I'd be looking to grab a couple of those guys if I'm Mr. Bidwell. And in the meantime, free agency. You got Josh Jacobs, Rip, franchise tagged. We got Saquon franchise tagged. Do you fully understand the franchise tag and like it, or does it just seem kind of like a loophole?
I think a little of both. I understand it, and it is a loophole. I think it's very team friendly, especially for a running back like Saquon, where the average salary for a running back is like $10 million. It seems like Saquon's severely underpaid at $10 million when Daniel Jones is signing for 45, but it's a quarterback driven league. We see Aaron Rodgers is hanging a few teams in limbo right now, waiting on his decision. So it's all about the quarterbacks, DK. You're not going to get far if you don't have a really good quarterback. And I think that's, the driving force behind all free agency is the quarterbacks and where they land.
Mm-hmm. Well, big names still out there. We'll see what happens. Lamar Jackson in Baltimore is still not happy. He might be able to push some things around. I think Roquan Smith still out there hanging around. And this is always crap podcasting, Rip, because we're right in the middle of it. The podcast is going to drop and probably 8 of these guys are going to be signed. And the only guy that I'm kind of keeping an eye on from afar is Tom Brady, just because it's Tom Brady. If he finds a team now that we found a couple landing spots for some quarterbacks, Garoppolo landed in Las Vegas. I don't know if that's the final answer. Shit, as I say that, we might see New England 2.0 over there.
Wait, you know Tom Brady retired. What's going on here? You think he's going to come back?
Yeah, he's still big time right there, free agent. I would say he's still number 3 or 4 guy available. Just in the essence of the NFL, you can't win without quarterbacks, Rip. We know that. No, nobody else is really on my mind though. Cardinals. I don't even know anymore what we're trying to do. This isn't even a rebuild. This is a complete start from scratch. After reading that NFLPA poll taken, just demolish the whole facility on Elliott in Tempe. Build a new one. Go do something in Scottsdale. If we're gonna burn the boat, let's burn the whole boat and build a new one. It's my take on the Cardinals. I'm usually a nice, happy guy. I've been really mad at the Cardinals the last 2 years. We're gonna lose DeAndre Hopkins for trash. He's gonna end up in New England. All I'm asking for, Bidwells, is one exciting thing this offseason to get a little bit excited for the sake of the podcast, for the sake of me hanging out with my friends. I have nothing to say in my group of NFL friends. I got to listen to Harrison talk about Jalen Ramsey and the Miami Dolphins. I got to listen to all my 49ers fans. Always. I know you got 6 Super Bowl rings, bros. I know it. Mr. Bidwell, please, one time, my man.
Yeah, at least sign a backup. I mean, I know we got Colt McCoy as our backup, but you see the Dolphins going after Mike White, and then I think the 49ers got Darnold, which isn't a great thing either, but sign a capable backup at this point. Colt McCoy is a game manager. Sign someone who, when Kyler goes down at some point, is going to give us a chance to win games consistently.
It is what it is. It is what it is. Hey, it's all drama, though. It's all good. 1-star moments of the week, a little segment that we do with Rip sometimes poos himself, or maybe just, doesn't wear deodorant one day and has a very important meaning. Those are terrible examples. I went right to the segment, Rip, because the truth of the matter is I did not prepare my comedy minute.
Hey, it's harder than you think, DK. It's harder than you think.
I listened back on the last episode. I feel like I am just embarrassed. I feel like I'm embarrassed enough that I need to take 7 steps back and really think this through. I thought I might have had a sandwich going, a beginning and an end with no meat. I didn't even have that. I had just crust. All I had was crust of that joke.
Wait, so your 1-star moment of the week happened on the show last week? Is that what you're trying to say?
My 1-star moment was listening back to that and realizing, A, how hard that is, and how dumb it is for me to think I can hop on with just a thought, an inclination in my head and roll with it. So much more difficult. And listening back, I felt nothing but shame and embarrassment for myself. Proud that I made an attempt a little bit, but as soon as I started feeling that proudness, it got stomped on right on his face by shame and embarrassment. I'm going to be back, though. I just need a little bit more time. I need to be a little bit more aware. I'm going to take Brad Sativa told us to just take life stuff as it comes and then put that funny spin on it and tell that story based on things from your past. So I'm more aware. I was playing volleyball this weekend. A couple dudes took some volleyballs to the face. Never played volleyball before. A couple guys took some good ones to the face. It was funny, but I didn't know where the bit was in there. But now I'm thinking about it. You know what I'm saying, Rip? I saw it. I recognized it was funny, and it could be a future bit, but I didn't force it.
That's all it is, DK. And I saw a clip with Jerry Seinfeld that's saying, I think you sent this to me. His entire life, this was on the Howard Stern show, Jerry Seinfeld's entire life for the last 40 years has been always thinking of bits in his daily life and how he can turn whatever happened in his daily life into a bit. And I think for a full-time comedian, obviously he's one of the most successful ones in history, but that's the mindset you have to have. And it's hard to remember, but I think once you get in the hang of it and you go through your life and our 1-star moments happen, being able to turn those into bits is probably the key to being able to relate to everybody out there.
Not disrespecting the game anymore. Coming prepared. If I'm going to get some laughs next time, okay? I'm going to bake this one up proper. I'm not going to forget the cheese and forget to put the egg in it, okay, Rip? I'm going to bake all the ingredients of a classic joke, so stay tuned for that. So that is my 1-star moment, the listen back and the shame spiral. What do you got?
Well, I'm glad you'll be back at some point, DK, so we can't wait for that. One place I know I'll definitely be returning to is responsible for my 1-star moment of the week this week. It's the Old Spaghetti Factory. As you know, it's one of my family's favorite restaurants to bring, the kids and the wife. We go for family outings. There are locations all across the country, but a long time ago, I figured out I was allergic to certain nuts. Through a medical test, I'm allergic to peanuts. I'm allergic to pine nuts, hazelnuts. So anyway, I can't eat those foods. So we went to Spaghetti Factory. We've been going for years. And about 5 years ago, I figured out that every time I leave Spaghetti Factory, I immediately have to stop at the bathroom. I can't even make it home half the time. And it was because at the end, they give you Spumoni ice cream. And part of that Spumoni ice cream, if you know, it's chocolate, strawberry, and pistachio. So it was the pistachios in that ice cream that was causing me to shit my brains out. So I stopped eating that. I just started ordering the vanilla. But we went last weekend and I had the vanilla. The same thing happened. I could not even make it home. There's a 24-minute car ride home. Probably within 45 seconds of the car ride, I felt it coming on. So I'm like, what the hell was it this time? My wife pointed out that the creamy pesto salad dressing that we get in the salad has pine nuts. Creamy pesto is made with pine nuts. I totally forgot about that. She warned me. I did it anyway. That's what it was, DK. It was the pine nuts in the dressing. I cannot have it anymore. It was a rough car ride home. I had to run in the house. My kids were wondering what the hell is going on. So no more creamy pesto for me at Spaghetti Factory. Lesson learned.
God, here we go. Now you're the dude. Now you're the dude when we go out to restaurants and every item. What are your fries fried in? What's got the salad dressing in? Where was it made? Here it comes, Rip. You've entered that realm, man.
It's not that bad because it's only nuts and it's like 3 or 4 kinds of nuts. So it's not like gluten or dairy or anything like that, all the more difficult stuff, but it is. I am partially that guy, and I'm sad to say that I really have to think about what I eat before I eat it.
I'm refraining on so many nut jokes right now for the sake of this podcast staying relatively clean, Rip. But good one. Way to work your detective skills. Seem kind of like an ignorant dude having a nut allergy, and pistachio ice cream's pretty clear, Rip. Pretty clear.
Yeah, but it's not like there's full pistachios and you don't think that you're eating pistachios. It's a nice sugary dessert. You don't think of a nut allergy having to do with that, but hey, it happens.
At least you shit and don't die. Some people's throats close up.
Yeah, I don't need an EpiPen. I just need a toilet.
You need an EpiPen for your butt. Oh boy, 1 star. Well, hey, I'm glad you guys are still hitting up the Spaghetti Factory. That was an Arizona classic. You got all the right stuff. You got the right salad dressing. You got the right. What's the pasta order?
It's the Mizithra and brown butter, which is an amazing cheese, and then I get a side of meatballs with meat sauce, and yeah, you used to be able to get in and out of there for $50 for a family of 4, but like everything else, it's more like 100 now. You're lucky to get out of there with 100, but it's still a good meal and good value for a family of 4.
You should name your next animal Mizithra.
That's a good idea. Mizithra Black Lab, maybe? Mizithra? I like it.
Confuse people. People have a real hard time saying that one. Mizithra.
Yeah, it's a good one. Wreck of the week right there.
Quick wreck for me. We had our first South Korean guest. My household has been indulging as usual, in some Netflix watching as worlds collide. My beautiful wife got sucked into a show that Rip actually applies to all aspects of everything in our universe in this podcast. And on this wonderful day today, it has a South Korean cast, crew, show, actors, and actresses. It is a South Korean show. Rip, it has the main character is a lawyer. You have a lawyer in your family. This is your show, bro. This is your show. My recommendation. And it is actually really good. It was a hard sell I said, what are you watching? She said, this show about a attorney who has autism and she solves cases. I said, wow. Okay. And then I sat down and then I took a watch and it worked and it did work. And it was really sweet and everything you want in a little sitcom of all the feels. And the show is Extraordinary Attorney Woo, WOO. It's on Netflix. I think you're gonna like it, Rip. I know you're a softie. You got a little soft heart, and then you get a little courtroom action for your family. I know you got litigators in your family, so you get a little courtroom action. You gonna check it out?
It's intriguing, DK, and I've been watching a little more TV lately, so I might actually take you up on that. I wonder. I'm curious about this lawyer and how she handles things in the courtroom. So yeah, I'll take you up on that.
It's a stretch wreck for me that that if I wouldn't have found it directly, I credit to wifey for entering this world, but also it ties to this episode here. So Extraordinary Attorney Woo is our recommendation of the week. At the end of the episode, it's a week, it's a month, it's March to celebrate basketball, the sport of basketball, the entertainment that is basketball, the up and down action, the athletes, the ability to get so close, not only on TV, but in person. If you want to go see basketball in person, Rip, you have a child who is head over heels in love with the sport. March Madness is here. March Madness is just a great time of year because it's kind of like a celebratory month for the whole country in a sense to kind of miss a little work on Thursday and Friday, watch some basketball, maybe leave for an early lunch on Friday, 3-hour lunch. It's a great time in this country for basketball. It's a great time in this world for basketball. If you have a free moment, check out the Santa Cruz Warriors website. Go ahead and check out some clips of our guy Hyunjung Lee and give us 5 stars. It's the best way to keep these guests coming on to our show. We got to keep spreading the word, and 5 stars helps that algorithm connect. Our goal, tell me if I'm wrong, Rip, is to keep growing. More international, more guests, more people from all over the world, so we can keep everything fresh for our listeners. And we're Worldwide Pod, Rip. We started in Arizona, came out here to Hawaii, do a little Long Beach stuff. Guess what? Worldwide Pod. Worldwide 1 stars. 5 stars means the world to us. If you can, after you listen, go ahead and hit that 5 stars, and we'll keep bringing you hot guests.
See you next week.